भारत का एकमात्र जंग रोधक सीमेंट।
Finance Minister Arun Jaitley says government to formally write to Swiss authorities seeking details of Indians having accounts in Swiss banks. Parliament session likely to be from 7th July to 14th August. Rail budget on 8th July and union budget to be presented on 10th of July. Government sweetens sugar industry with positive measures. Centre to provide additional interest-free loans of up to 4,400 crore rupees. Increases the import duty on sugar from 15 to 40%. Market zipped below 25k levels in afternoon trade as Sensex recovers to close at 25,031, but Nifty shut shops below the crucial 7,500 levels. And we will find out, can English and Spanish losses in the World Cup set off a stock market crash in the respective countries? Hello and welcome to Business Wrap. I am Sidhant, Sibal, and let's begin with the top story. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has said that the government will formally write to Swiss authorities seeking details of Indians having accounts in Swiss banks. Jaitley said that the Finance Ministry has not officially received any information from Swiss authorities over accounts with black money. He said that the government will work together with Swiss authorities and will write to expedite the issue for fruitful results.
Quoting Swiss authorities that they are willing to actively cooperate with the government in India in giving details about Indians who hold bank accounts in the Swiss banking system. The Ministry of Finance has officially not received any communication as yet. We are today writing ourselves to the Swiss authorities with whom the ministry has been in touch, so that details with regard to whatever information the authorities have can be expedited, and the cooperation between the Swiss authorities and the government of India can bring fruitful results. Our communication will be sent today itself.
Well, earlier the Swiss government had prepared a list of Indians suspected to have stashed untaxed wealth in Swiss banks and shared the information with India. Justice M.B. Shah, who is heading the SIT on black money, has said that the list would be verified and action will be taken against the guilty.
India's efforts to crack down on black money stashed abroad got a major boost as Switzerland has prepared a list of Indians suspected to have untaxed wealth in Swiss banks, and the details are being shared with Indian government. The special investigation team constituted by Indian government has promised action if any illegality was found. The names of these Indian individuals and entities have come under scanner of the Swiss authorities during an ongoing exercise to identify real beneficiary owners of the funds held in various banks operating in Switzerland. According to Justice M.B. Shah, the list would be verified and action would be taken against those found to have kept unaccountable money. The Swiss government officials, however, refused to reveal the identity of the concerned entities as also the quantum of funds involved, citing the confidentiality clause of the information exchange framework between India and Switzerland. Untaxed money in Swiss banks is held through structures like trusts, domiciliary companies and other legal entities based out of countries other than India. Switzerland's central bank has shown that Indian money in various Swiss banks rose by 43% during 2013, close to rupees 14,000 crore. The Swiss government official also said that Switzerland is looking forward to working with the new government in India, and it will also extend all possible support to SIT on black money. In the past, officials have said that illegal funds were often sent to tax havens such as Mauritius, Switzerland and British Virgin Islands, among others. The new government has said unearthing black money is an important issue for them. Business Bureau, DT News.
Well, the Reserve Bank meanwhile has directed banks and financial institutions to provide all information and documents sought by SIT on black money. The move by the central bank comes a day after the Swiss government said that it was readying a list of suspected Indians who have untaxed money in Swiss banks and that it could provide the Indian government with such information. Well, the budget session of the parliament will be held from July 7th to August 14, and the first general budget of Narendra Modi government will be presented on July the 10th. The rail budget will be presented on July 8th, while the economic survey will be released on July the 9th. This was decided by the Cabinet Committee on Parliamentary Affairs (CCPA) at a meeting held in Parliamentary Affairs Ministers M. Venkaiah Naidu's chamber in Parliament House. The CCPA, headed by Home Minister Rajnath Singh, decided that bills to be replaced ordinances include SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Amendment Ordinance, the one on Polavaram Project, the Tri-Act Amendment Ordinance and the one on SEBI will be brought on a priority basis for consideration in the session. The ordinance have to be converted into bills before the third week of July. The over month-long session will have a total of 28 sittings. The vote on account budget approved by the previous parliament ends on July 31st and a new budget will have to be placed before that date. Well, time for a short break. More after this break.
पहले यहाँ कोई काम नहीं मिलता था। महात्मा गांधी नरेगा ने यहाँ काम शुरू करवाया। महात्मा गांधी नरेगा ने हमारे परिवार को हर साल 100 दिन रोजगार की गारंटी दी है। महात्मा गांधी नरेगा में काम करने के बाद 15 दिन में मजूरी मिल जाती है। अब मजूरी के लिए शहर नहीं जाना पड़ता, गांव में ही काम करते हैं, बच्चों के साथ रहते हैं घर में।
महात्मा गांधी नरेगा साल 2012-13 में करीब 5 करोड़ परिवारों को रोजगार दिया गया।
समय पे काम, हाथों हाथ दाम।
दादाजी, आपका नाम क्या है?
रमेश प्रसाद।
आपको कैसे पता?
ये देखो।
नहीं चलेगा, बर्थ सर्टिफिकेट नहीं है आपके पास? बर्थ सर्टिफिकेट के बिना लाइफ आजकल बहुत मुश्किल हो सकती है। मेरे पास तो है बर्थ सर्टिफिकेट।
बर्थ सर्टिफिकेट स्कूल में एडमिशन, सरकारी नौकरी, वोटर आईडी कार्ड और पासपोर्ट हासिल करने में मदद करता है। इससे आप बच्चे के जन्म स्थान पर 21 दिन के भीतर नगर निगम नगर पालिका से बिल्कुल मुफ्त पाएं।
नन्ही सी जान की पहली पहचान।
Welcome back. The government today sweetened sugar industry with major favorable decisions which may bring sugar mills on fast track and prevent them from sickness. The centre has decided to provide additional interest-free loans of up to 4,400 crore rupees to cash-cow sugar industry for paying cane arrears. The government has also raised import duty on sugar from 15% to 40%. Shares of sugar companies surged higher in the trade after the government announced the measures. More in this report.
In a move to bail out the ailing sugar industry, the government has decided to hike the import duty to 40%. India, the world's second biggest producer after Brazil, imposed a 15% tax on sugar imports so far. This latest move, according to Food and Civil Supplies Minister Ramvilas Paswan, would facilitate the mills clear dues to cane growers and to support local prices. He also said that farmers' interests have to be given priority and the sugar mills must be in good health. Government is trying to revive business at mills that owe farmers around 11,000 crore rupees. The minister also added that government will provide additional interest-free loan of 4,400 crore rupees to cash-starved sugar mills to make payments to cane farmers.
जो है एक आम सहमति 4 चीज पर हुई है। एक तो एक सहमति हुई है कि जो इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी है वो 40% किया जाए, 40% तक, मतलब 40% किया जाए। दूसरा है जो एक्सपोर्ट इंसेंटिव्स है जो अभी हम दे रहे हैं 3300 रुपया पर क्विंटल, उसको सितंबर तक जो है सितंबर तक क्या कहते हैं कि उसको एक्सटेंड किया जाए। तीसरा है कि जो पेट्रोल में जो है इथेनॉल मिलाने का जो मिश्रण का मामला है उसमें मानते हैं कि चूँकि प्रधान जी भी थे तो पेट्रोलियम मिनिस्टर, उसमें जो है कोई आपत्ति 10% तक जो है कोई क्या कहते हैं उसमें आपत्ति नहीं है। और चौथा जो है कि जो एक्साइज लोन है तो उसमें जो है लोन पर जो 0% ब्याज है वो अगले 5 साल तक जो है सो हो समझने के।
Apart from this, government has also decided to extend subsidy on raw sugar export till September 2014. Earlier this month, subsidy for raw sugar was increased to boost output and exports. The government has also decided to raise the mandatory blending of ethanol in gasoline to 10% from 5% in order to promote ethanol blending. Trying to emulate the success of Brazil's booming biofuel industry, India launched its ambitious ethanol blending program in 2006, but disagreements between sugar mills and oil companies over pricing had marred any progress. Ethanol blending would help in reducing India's current account deficit and also boost mills' earnings. Indian mills produce ethanol from molasses, a byproduct of sugar production. Business Bureau, DD News.
Well, now time for the stock market action. It was a roller coaster day for the markets. After dipping below 25k levels in afternoon trade, Sensex managed to close above that levels. Sensex closed at 25,031, down 74 points. This is Sensex's lowest close in 2.5 weeks. Nifty closed at 7493, down 18 points. Nifty paid most of the intraday losses towards the end of the session but closed below the crucial 7,500 levels due to profit booking in FMCG and technology sectors. ITC slumped most in about 10 months on tax hike worries. Even the IT stocks fell down. Losers on the chart were ITC, Infosys, Hindustan Unilever, TCS, Wipro, which were down by between 6 to 1%. Gainers on the chart were ONGC, Hero MotoCorp, BHEL, SSLT and Mahindra & Mahindra, which were up by between 4 to 1%. The market breadth indicating the overall health of the market was negative. On to global market action. Most Asian stocks edged lower in choppy trade on Monday. Key benchmark indices in Indonesia, China, Singapore, Hong Kong and Taiwan were down by between 0.02% to 1.68%. Key benchmark indices in Japan and South Korea were up by between 0.13% to 0.35%. On to European market action. The European markets edged lower on Monday too after data showed Euro area manufacturing and services activity weakened in June. Key benchmark indices in UK, France and Germany were down by between 0.48% to 0.85%. Let's take a check on the rupee. Well, the rupee closed, it edged down 2 paise to settle at 60.20 versus the dollar. Well, Union Power Minister Piyush Goyal met with bankers on Monday to resolve conflicts between the power sector and borrowers and the banks. The minister called for greater private sector participation in electricity distribution. Meanwhile, Goyal informed that bankers had expressed concerns relating to fuel supply issues and power purchases problems as their main concerns in the sector. He said that bankers will meet with the Power Ministry officials after a month to discuss the last mile funding requirements.
Several good suggestions have come in which will include last mile funding of projects. Several good suggestions have come in to bring down the cost of borrowing of existing projects. A significant thrust may be expected in the months to come to strengthen the transmission and distribution network across the country along with willing states.
Well, this is a story which will interest all of the people who are watching this program. Well, according to a new research, big sport defeats can wipe off billions of the stock markets. So should Europe's stock exchanges worry about depressed traders pressing the wrong buttons after English and Spanish defeats in the World Cup? Here's a report.
These fans have waited 4 years for this. World Cup revelers are hoping their team will score at least one more than the opposition. But what if they don't? The after effects can reach further than you might think. New research suggests big sporting defeats can cause mini stock market crashes.
If we look over the course of the World Cup so far, when England lost to Italy, the market fell by 0.4% the next day. When Spain had their embarrassing result against the Netherlands, the market fell by 1% the next day. And notice that the broader market, the world market, was flattened those days. In fact, if we look at the 12 instances so far where we've had a country losing a game which has an active stock market, in 8 of those 12 times we have seen the national market index fall faster than the world market.
Going by this theory, Spain's IBEX should be wallowing in the red after being knocked out of the World Cup. On the contrary, the news of new king has helped lift Spain's main index. Markets have been reveling at all-time highs. Fed Chief Janet Yellen's dovish tone has been giving markets the feel-good factor for some time now. England's defeat to Uruguay hasn't pushed the FTSE 100 down yet. But could miserable market players threaten to press the wrong button this World Cup and send markets plunging?
But I suppose there'll be a short-term benefit to the Brazilian economy, but thereafter it's probably not that great. I don't know. I think we're all feeling pretty depressed this morning. Let's hope we don't press the wrong button.
Unfortunately, the theory doesn't work both ways, with a win not necessarily meaning a boost for financial markets, but no doubt whoever does win the World Cup this year, the valuation of their portfolios will be the last thing on their minds. Business Bureau, DD News.
Well, local businesses, bars and restaurants are opening their doors for soccer fans and showing all the action in fan-oriented environments. Whether you are cheering for the Reds, White or the Blue, World Cup watch parties will be everywhere and will turn, well, the restaurants are opening their doors for this and trying to cash on this during this big football fiesta.
Key economic and political developments from Asia's growth engine in the week ahead. Activity in China's factory sector expanded in June for the first time in 6 months as new orders surged, offering new signs that the economy is stabilizing, thanks to Beijing's measures to shore up growth. The HSBC Market Flash China Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index rose to 50.8 in June from May's final reading of 49.4. A reading above the 50-point level separates growth in activity from contraction. On the political front, the mainland's top Taiwan affairs official is expected to arrive on the island on Wednesday for a 4-day visit. Zhang Jinjun's visit follows large-scale protests in Taiwan against a controversial trade pact that would strengthen economic links with the mainland. China considers Taiwan a renegade province and has never ruled out the use of force to bring it under its control. But in recent years, trade between the rivals has been flourishing despite their political differences. Now to Malaysia, where a couple of firms are set to go public with share sales expected to raise over $500 million in total. On Wednesday, Malaysia Icon Offshore, which owns a fleet of offshore support vessels, will start trading on the Kuala Lumpur exchange. It will be followed by palm oil producer Boasted Plantations. Both firms received strong investor interest with their offerings priced at the top of the range. Business Desk, DD News.
Well, with the onset of monsoons, there comes many problems like diseases, broken cars, flooded houses. Any damage to these add to the financial losses. Getting insured helps in minimizing these damages. Here's a check of all what you have to do this monsoon.
Helipad of the INS Hansa in Goa. It is a naval facility here. We are waiting for these advanced light helicopter Dhruvs to take us to the INS Vikramaditya. Over there, clearance for the choppers. There are 3 very heavy presence of naval police and special SPG personnel police here to check the media. 2 batches of media have already flown to the INS Vikramaditya, so waiting eagerly for the trip to INS Vikramaditya, the mammoth Leviathan 45.
Well, there seems to be some problem there. Well, let's go to what's making news in the Asian region, the business news. Here are interesting events lined up in the Asian economic front. What's to expect here is a special report.
Nation's Public Service Day is celebrated on 23rd June every year. The prestigious UN Public Service Awards are given away on this day. The UN General Assembly in its resolution 57/277 designated 23rd June as the Public Service Day. The UN Public Service Day intends to celebrate the value and virtue of public service to the community, highlight the contribution of public service in development process, recognize the work of public servants, and encourage young people to pursue careers in the public sector. The United Nations Economic and Social Council established that the United Nations Public Service Awards be bestowed on Public Service Day for contributions made to the cause of enhancing the role, prestige and visibility of public service. Since the first award ceremony in 2003, the United Nations has received an increasing number of submissions from all around the world. UN General Secretary Ban Ki-moon in his message this year says, and I quote, "The annual observance of Public Service Day highlights the invaluable contribution of public servants and administrators in our effort to build a better world for all," unquote. This year's United Nations Public Service Day Awards ceremony and forum will take place in Seoul, Republic of Korea from today till the 26th of June. Bureau Report, DD News.
Well, that was a story on the United Nations Public Service Day, which is being observed today, that's 23rd June, to recognize that democracy and successful governance are built on the foundation of a competent civil service. The day aims to celebrate the value and virtue of service to the community. The United Nations holds a public service award ceremony each year. Well, with the onset of monsoon, there comes many diseases, broken cars, flooded houses. Any damage to these add to the financial losses. Getting insured helps you in minimizing these damages. Here's a check of all you need to do this monsoon to minimize the losses. Well, before that, we'll go for another story. That's news from the Asian region. We have some interesting events which are going to take place in the Asian economic front. What is expected in the Asian region in the world of business? We bring you this report.
From Asia's growth engine in the week ahead. Activity in China's factory sector expanded in June for the first time in 6 months as new orders surged, offering new signs that the economy is stabilizing, thanks to Beijing's measures to shore up growth. The HSBC Market Flash China Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index rose to 50.8 in June from May's final reading of 49.4. A reading above the 50-point level separates growth in activity from contraction. On the political front, the mainland's top Taiwan affairs official is expected to arrive on the island on Wednesday for a 4-day visit. Zhang Jinjun's visit follows large-scale protests in Taiwan against a controversial trade pact that would strengthen economic links with the mainland. China considers Taiwan a renegade province and has never ruled out the use of force to bring it under its control. But in recent years, trade between the rivals has been flourishing despite their political differences. Now to Malaysia, where a couple of firms are set to go public with share sales expected to raise over $500 million in total. On Wednesday, Malaysia Icon Offshore, which owns a fleet of offshore support vessels, will start trading on the Kuala Lumpur exchange. It will be followed by palm oil producer Boasted Plantations. Both firms received strong investor interest with their offerings priced at the top of the range. Business Desk, DD News.
Well, on that note, time for the recap of the top business headlines. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley says government to formally write to the Swiss authorities seeking details of Indians having accounts in the Swiss banks. Parliament session likely to be from 7th July to 14th August. Rail budget on 8th July and the union budget will be presented on 10th of July. Government sweetens sugar industry with positive measures. Centre to provide additional interest-free loan of 4,400 crore rupees. Also increases import duty on sugar from 15% to 40%. After dipping below 25k levels in afternoon trade, Sensex recovers to close at 25,031, but Nifty shut shops below the crucial 7,500 levels. Well, that's all in this edition of Business Wrap. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.
बिजनेस रैप वॉज ब्रॉट टू यू बाय श्री अल्ट्रा रेड ऑक्साइड, भारत का एकमात्र जंग